Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. What can I say? I'm still trying to get over yesterday's result. 2-0 at home to Chelsea. I think it's Arsenal's worst ever start to a season. How many more records are we going to break like this in a negative way? It was a really poor performance yesterday. First of all, we got to say there were mitigating circumstances when you consider the amount of players that were missing. And Mikel Arteta said it himself after, these are no ordinary players. These are like senior players missing. Thomas Partey, Lacazette, Aubameyang apparently shouldn't even really have even played because he's still not fully recovered from COVID. Then there was Ben White was missing. You know, there was a whole host, Gabriel, a whole host of like what you'd say are your best, most senior players. And if you're coming up against the champions of Europe, you really need to be going in there with your really best team. But even with those mitigating circumstances, it was still a poor performance. It still wasn't good enough. And it got you wondering, you know, about the manager. You know, has he wasted the £129 million that he's been given so far by the Cronkies, the owners? Josh Kroenke was up in the stands, and he would have seen for himself how far away we are from a team like Chelsea. And for us as Arsenal fans, it's really upsetting to see. You know, we used to be miles ahead of Chelsea back in the day. Now they've overtaken us and they are miles ahead of us. And they had a player on the pitch that they spent a lot of money on, but he was the difference maker. Whereas, you know, all right, a lot of our players that we bought in were missing. And I think Sambi Lokonga had a really, really good game. And I really like the look of him. But you just look on it and you say to yourself, has Mikel Arteta wasted some of this money? Some of the decisions that he's made, for instance, in keeping Xhaka. You know, why didn't we go for Basuma? Right? Basuma, right at the start of the window, we all thought that this was probably going to be Arsenal's #1 target. Get in a really good defensive midfielder player, you know, solidify that area, really solidify that area. But it was Mikel Arteta's decision to keep Granit Xhaka, and it was announced, you know, in the program yesterday by the Cronkies that we've kept him in and his experience, etc. Listen, we need experience. You can see a lot of young players out there yesterday. You need experience in, and I know that Bakary Sagna was heavily critical of the transfer policies as well yesterday, saying that it's all right bringing in loads of young players, but the young players need experienced players to look up to. And, you know, there's not enough of those really good experienced pros at Arsenal. And we really look lost at the moment. But some of those key decisions, as I said, those were down to Mikel Arteta. You know, the signing of Ben White, who unfortunately missed the game yesterday, and I think is going to be a top player. He's very highly rated. But if we had, you know, when you're doing your sort of deciding what you're going to do with the funds at the start of the window and the money that you've got, surely when we went to Brighton, we should have went for Basuma first. That's just my opinion. It was Mikel Arteta's decision to send Saliba out on loan. These are all his decisions, and he's going to live and die by these decisions. He's going to live and die by them, you know? Even some of the players that we're looking to get rid of at the moment, those are some of his decisions, you know? They are, you know, and this is why ultimately, at the moment, he's under a lot of pressure. I mean, Willian, who yesterday really got Arsenal fans very, very angry indeed by appearing to like a Chelsea post, a post that the Chelsea players or Chelsea, I don't even know who from Chelsea put it up. It appeared that he liked it. And I'm sorry, when we've just lost to Chelsea, I don't care if you used to play for them. You don't play for them no more. Arsenal are a team paying your wages. Why are you liking that after a defeat? You know what I mean? To that club. Really, really poor. But who bought him in? Arteta and Edu. They bought in Willian. That was their decision last year. They recognise now it's a big mistake. They're trying to get him out of the club. Obviously, he wasn't playing yesterday because he's got COVID. They're trying to move him on. Will they be able to move him on? But that, again, was their decision to bring him in. And right now, we're in a sort of situation where you can't turn around no more, Mikel Arteta, and say, these are not my players and this and that. The players that you've bought in this summer, which, as I said, I said it the other day, they're sensible signings. Let's not be wrong about that. They are sensible signings. They're in areas that we needed, right? But they're his decisions. And as I said, his decision to get Willian, his decision to send Saliba out on loan, his decision to spend £50 million on Ben White, all his decisions, they could be great decisions or they could be terrible decisions that end up costing him his job. And I can tell you what, there was a lot of people yesterday questioning if he should even still be here. One person that was missing from the team yesterday was Hector Bellerin. Now, we were told that he was out of the team because he has a tight thigh. We've heard those ones before. A tight thigh looks like they're maybe not wanting to play him because they're looking to shift him out. They're looking to move him out. But where to? It still not really seemed to be any sort of club that was really coming definitively. It seemed like it was Inter Milan, but nobody's really come in and said, right, we want him and we want him now. Or is there something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about when it comes to moving him on? Because left out of the team yesterday and hasn't really figured at all. He's not been the guy. It's really been Chambers in the first game, and now yesterday, it was Cedric, and Bellerin hasn't played. So looks like he's going, but it's going to be a mystery to find out where he's going to be going to, because as of yet, there's not a clear club that's come in to try and get Hector Bellerin. Kolasinac was on the bench yesterday, which was a bit of a surprise, but the reason why he was on the bench is that the squad was so thin that they had to have him on the bench. They didn't play him. I think he would only have come on in an emergency because, of course, Ben White was missing. We know Gabriel was missing, and we saw that in one of the friendlies, he came on and he played as a centre-back really, really badly, by the way. But I think that's the only reason he was in the squad, as a cover for that area. But Kolasinac is going to be on his way. The contract, as I said yesterday, is going to be cancelled, and he's going to be on his way to join up with Ozil at Fenerbahce. So he will be leaving the club. That decision has definitely been made. So don't expect to see him after the transfer window. And Lucas Torreira seems to be one of the players that there is quite a few clubs chasing. Again, I've spoken about it a couple of times, but Eintracht Frankfurt, the latest club to be really interested in signing Lucas Torreira. Couldn't Lucas Torreira be in the team at the moment? Again, another decision by Mikel Arteta. I'm not saying whether they're right or wrong decisions right now. I'm just saying that these are the decisions that could come back to haunt him. Like, Martinez going out and being sold to Aston Villa. I know that Martinez wanted to leave and stuff like that. It's his decision. By the way, I thought Leno played well yesterday, made a couple of great saves, but these are his decisions. These are his decisions. And if he doesn't get these decisions right, there's only a couple of, we got West Bromwich Albion away on Wednesday night in the Carabao Cup, and I would have thought that, Mikel Arteta and the hierarchy at the club will want to do well in that competition. It's a route back into Europe. I had Chris Hudson on my News Daily show the other day, and he was saying that. He's pointing it out and saying that's a route back into European football if you win the League Cup. And we haven't really got much else really to go for. So I would expect him to put out quite a strong team against West Brom. But West Brom are flying so far this season. They've won all 3 of their games so far in the Championship. They've retained most of their players and they're playing well. That's what we're going to be up against on Wednesday, and then against Manchester City at the weekend. you know, lose that. As I said, already the worst start to the season, but you might look on it and say 2 games, don't panic. 4 defeats in a row, it's time to panic. And then do Arsenal press the button and, you know, bring in this guy? There's a lot of people calling for him yesterday, Antonio Conte. You know, that's what one fan said to me. That's the transfer he wants to see. Arteta gone and Antonio Conte come in. And Conte at the moment is available. He's out there, you know, and he is available. He'd want to come back to England, no doubt. You remember he won the league here with Chelsea, but he's an ambitious manager. He's going to want funds. He's going to want money, but they may be able to tempt him. You know, he did have talks with Tottenham. So it's trying times for Mikel Arteta. I think he really needs a result. He needs a result against West Bromwich Albion, and we need a performance against Manchester City. And I still think he needs to make a couple of decent transfers before this window shuts. We need a right back. And I'm looking at that team, and I still think, despite the fact, well, listen, it's not going to happen. I would have bought in somebody like a Basuma. And I just feel that that team's lacking a bit of experience. You know, even yesterday, I'm looking on it and I'm like, Pablo Mari, is he better than David Luiz? I know Luiz is not the answer, but is he better? You know, would he have done better in some of those tussles with Lukaku rather than a Mari? You know, a lot of decisions have been made. And at the moment, the team, I have to say, when you look at Arsenal, nobody's got nothing to fear when they look at that team. But it's still early. And as I said right at the start of the show, there are some mitigating circumstances. But Mikel Arteta has just over a week in this transfer window. The next couple signings that he makes, if he makes them before the end of this window, are going to be absolutely essential, because when that window shuts, he's got no excuses when it comes to not being backed. He has been backed this summer. £129 million so far, and they probably spend some more, and they're not really going to get a lot of money in for some of these players. So he has been backed. What is he going to do with it? Thanks for watching the show today. Don't forget, you can check out AFTV News Daily tonight. Check out all of our brilliant content that we had out yesterday around the game. Unfortunately, it was a loss. But, you know, we spoke to fans outside the stadium. We spoke to fans in the studio. We had the watch along, the full-time show. If you haven't checked out the full-time show yet, it's on that show. We talk about the game immediately after, and we give fans a chance to send in their videos and voice notes and tell us about what they thought about the performance. And there were some really good people yesterday getting in contact with us after the game about the result. So make sure you check out the full-time show. All those shows still available here. And of course, News Daily is going to be on tonight. We've got the player ratings out, 5 things we learned about Arsenal's performance yesterday. All of those videos out right now. You can go and check them out and hear what the real fans are saying about what they thought about yesterday's performance. It's on to Wednesday. Let's hope we can do a lot better. I want to see a win. I want to see a goal. Oh, bloody hell. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.